Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today we're doing a theory crafting session. Now, I gotta say, I've been playing a ridiculous amount of Tsareena, and I am so beside myself with this character. This feels like maybe the most versatile character that they've ever put in the game, and it is making it incredibly complicated and hard for me to make a decision about what build, what abilities I want to run, what I like. It is very, very hard. So we do have this page on Unite Pro. I'm going to link this website in the description, who has the damage scalings of Tsareena, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to theory craft builds on her, and we're going to talk about the fact that I think that this character isn't going to be one of those characters that has like one build or something like that. It's very, very interesting. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and set her to level 15, and let's look at her let's look at her stats. So she has 7298 HP, 440 AD, or attack. I'm going to compare that to a couple other characters. So for like, if you compare it to Cinderace, that's level 15, of course. Cinderace at level 15 has 418 attack. She has more attack than Cinderace. And let's look at Snorlax. Snorlax at level 15 has 9899 health. So she has more attack than Cinderace, and she has, you know, a substantial amount less health than Snorlax. She does get 20% crit and 15% lifesteal, whereas, let's see, tanks get CDR reduction. Cinderace would get 30% crit and 10% lifesteal. So she has built-in lifesteal, she has built-in crit, she has high attack stat, she has really high health, and let's go ahead and look at her damage scaling. So we're going to be looking at her abilities, not like the starting abilities, like her main abilities. So we have Triple Axle and Stomp. Stomp, before it's upgraded, does 191% attack stat plus 9 times the level -1 plus a flat 236. Upgraded, that increases to 210% plus 13%, and then with the flat, you know, times the level -1 with the flat 279. So this is a very high. This is very high scaling. As for Triple Axle, it looks a little bit lower, but it's cut into 3 different sections. So she's got first spin, second spin, third spin. So you have essentially 75%, you know, times 3, 7, 14, 21. What's that? 35, 100, you know, 235%. And then plus a flat, you know, on each hit, you know, 101, 109, 115. That's what, 325. So Triple Axle does more damage than Stomp and is a dash move. So this is also before it's upgraded. I am very, very comfortable saying that I think that Triple Axle might be the better move. Just looking at it right here, they both, the biggest question for me, we're going to get to that in a second. It comes from these abilities, but we're going to get to that in just a second. But I'm very comfortable saying that I think the Triple Axle is the better move. I think. It provides you a lot of mobility. The one downside that I can see to it is it has a 1.5 second longer cooldown naturally, but on this character, ironic enough, that kind of doesn't matter. So really interesting if you think about it in that way. All right, let's look at Trop Kick and Grassy Glide. So Trop Kick has a 75, just shy of 75% attack scaling, plus 3 times the level -1 plus flat 115, and then it goes up to 84, and then an additional 4 with a slightly higher. You can see the difference here. It goes up a little bit. Same thing for Grassy Glide. So when it comes to these abilities, Drop Kick has a much bigger cooldown, and I believe is a longer dash, while Grassy Glide has a much considerably less cooldown, but does less damage. I would say the big differences between these abilities is that, you know, Trop Kick has like the slowing AoE field, and the Grassy Glide has like the kind of like CC secondary kick. In my opinion, I've been liking Grassy Glide more. I feel like it combos better. I feel like it feels like you're able to do more with it, but it does do less damage. That's for sure. You can kind of see that reflected here. That it's going to do probably not much more damage. I mean, you know, it doesn't really do that much more, or like it does less damage. I'm sorry if I'm saying more. Trop Kick will do more. You can see the 554. It's damage calculated with no items on. 554, so 494. And then Queen's Ascendant is damage per hit is 50% times 1 times the level -1, plus a flat 70. So it's basically 50% attack per hit, which is, you know, a lot. Times 9, that is, sorry. Damage, charged hit, goes up to, which I think is like the last slam, I guess. The charged hit, I'm not sure what that means when you slam the ground. 196, so pretty high scaling. Pretty high scaling. So this means when you have a character that has high scalings, this means adding flat attack into the abilities is good. So like we put, let's say, a 30 attack weight on it. It increases her, so 440 up to a 30 attack weight goes up to 458. And you can see that these numbers are starting to climb, you know, by a decent amount. So what was it? 1233 from 1198. So 1198 to 1233. It adds a decent amount of damage to her. So with high scalings like this, items like this look very good. Let me see if I can find weakness policy. I've never actually calculated with weakness policy. I'm assuming it does it like as if the weakness policy is stacked. Yeah, you can see. Actually, I don't know if it does add that in because it looks like it's the same. Yeah, so weakness policy, it doesn't actually add in the 12%, but we would, I guess, we'd be able to see that. I don't know. I'm not sure if this website does that, but the question is, does adding this damage in mean more than having heavy sustain on a character that heals a lot? And so the big question mark that I've been having with this character is this Queenly Majesty effect restores HP each time it hits, you know, the move hits. I just don't know how much this health restore is. And so we have the question of, does durability equal more damage? And I think that it does. So the more and more I play this character, the less and less I'm doing like double damage item builds, because I think that sustain leads you to getting more damage. And I'm having a hard time picking out my items, but I'm pretty sure I'm leaning closer and closer to something like, oh, Spraggles just started to stream. That's crazy. I think I'm leaning closer and closer to something like this, like Razor Claw, Focus Band, and Buddy Barrier. And the reason that I would be leaning something like this is because it adds, you know, additional crit. It adds the damage burst. She's got good attack scaling, so you're going to get some good damage burst, like every 2 seconds off Razor Claw on your auto attacks. You're going to be slowing people. You're going to have, you know, additional health, additional healing and defense, and you're just going to be a menace, like flying around, doing crazy things. Now, even with this damage, it may be better to just drop the Razor Claw and put a muscle band on, or it might be better to just run a weakness policy, and then you're doing more damage and you have more health and you're healing more because you're raising your attack stat. Because I just don't know how this heal works. This heal is the thing that is kind of really confusing me, if I'm being honest. I want to go back to the Pokemon Unite website and look at the press release about her and see if they talk about how the heal works. Let's see. It just says, uses Stomple under the Queenly Majesty buff restores HP when Stomp hits. This is such a restores HP when, you know, each time a kick lands. This is one of those things that is just like, it is so hard to know. It is so hard to know what the truly best build on this character is, because I simply don't know how much sustain can I get on this character. Is it better? Is it team comp dependent? Because if you have a really tanky or a supporty team comp, maybe you need to be the damage dealer, so you know, you wouldn't worry about sustain so much. But as far as solo queue goes, you know, running a much more defensive build could be incredibly strong, and I think that that's something that we need to consider. So the more and more I theorycraft this character, the more and more I'm leaning much more to wanting to do. I just realized I might have been blocking that sometimes. I'm sorry. The more and more I'm realizing I might want to just do something like this, where I'm running like damage and then like defense, because it could be incredibly strong. As for held items, I'm not gonna lie, I think that something like Potion could be really, really ridiculous on her. Drew has been trying to get me, you know, one of the guys in our Discord in our community has been trying to get me to play it, and I've played it like one time, and it's pretty strong. I think full heal is really important on her though, so I'm thinking full heal and Potion are actually decent options on this character, because the sustain is just, it's really like what the pivotal part of this is. And it's really hard to be objective about builds, because it's hard to weigh like damage versus like sustain. It's hard to weigh defense versus damage and find, you know, a scale for value there. because the reality is that her scalings are high, and if you want to throw an attack weight build on, you could do that. Like, you could absolutely go, if you're doing a laning build, you could absolutely, you know, drop either one of these 2 defensive items, Buddy Barrier or Focus Band, and you could go attack weight, and you could go score shield. And now you have a score, like your score scaling, your HP stacking. You don't have the Focus Band burst healing, but that's okay, because Focus Band honestly kind of falls off toward the later part of the game anyways. And Score Shield doesn't. Score Shield is pretty consistently good. And then now you have a lot more damage. Right? I'm pretty certain that the healing that you get off of these abilities is percentage based. I think. If that's the case, then you have more damage, you're going to be healing more, and you have a ton of health with some sustain. So this could be an incredibly strong laning build. I think that that's kind of like a pick your poison type of deal, like which defensive item you want to run here. And then it's hard to say, but if you need to be a heavy damage dealer, then running like a laning build like this would work just well. You know, it would work just fine. You could do a ton of damage like this. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what would be better between this damage build right here or dropping the Razor Claw or a weakness policy. That could bring you a lot more healing because it's raising your attack stat at the cost of, you know, like maybe some burst. I'm not really sure. There are so many potential builds on this character that it's really going to come down to like what the player wants to run. I think it's really, really hard to decide. I've even been running a version of a build. Let me see, like this, where I essentially run like Focus Band or Buddy Barrier, and then I run weakness and I run the Razor Claw. This is a much more like damage heavy build, and that's good, right? Especially this coming out of jungle, so I don't have to stack the attack weight. This is a good build, but I'm thinking that sustain might be king on this character. So instead of the weakness policy, I might start leaning a little bit more into the Buddy Barrier. So just to kind of give you guys some of the builds that I'm looking at right now, this is one of the top builds for me because I'm going to be playing her out of jungle mostly. So this is a pretty top build for me. I think attack weight, score shield, Buddy Barrier, or Focus Band. I think that's, again, a pick your poison type of thing. Focus Band is really, really good for lane. It's really good for early game. Buddy Barrier, much, much better for late game. So maybe a little bit better of an option there for Buddy Barrier. It's hard to say. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like I said, really full-on theory crafting session here. We're just talking about the character, and I would love to hear your thoughts, because these scalings are good, but so is the sustain. So one of the few characters I feel like in the game could really run a lot of different things. As always, friends, be sure to be kind to one another, tell someone you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.